I'll go over and just kind of give you some strategies for how to come up with designs for your cover. So, step one, you should choose a story to do. Remember, those story options are all listed on Canvas. I will pull those up really quick to show you where they are. Canvas, project 4. So yeah, choose a story. So here are your story options. If you have a different story you really want to do, just send me an email and we can discuss and see if it will work for the project. All right, so choose a story first. And then, so this is just kind of some ideas to help you get drawing and get sketching. So I hear a lot of people say they don't often kind of have enough ideas or know what to draw. So I like to separate the coming up with ideas from the drawing side of it. So these are kind of some different types of covers I see most often. I see on comic books, I see on books, I see on novels, I see on children's books, I see it for movie posters, okay? So these sorts of things. So one of the main things you see is a dramatic moment, okay? A dramatic moment. So when something exciting is happening in the story, to illustrate that moment on your cover. You can simply illustrate a unique character or a unique location. Does this story take place in a fantastic castle or in an old cabin in the woods or in a floating city in the sky? So just a unique character or a unique location can grace your cover illustration. Asking a question, so raising a question to the viewer. So what's in that box? What is that character doing? What's happening in this scene? So a lot of those things can make for a good cover. A strong mood, so all those moods from the previous lesson. So putting a really creepy mood on it, a really action-based mood can help with this cover. Or a compilation, which you'll see a lot more in like movie poster cover or movie posters where they try and kind of just put a bunch of stuff from the story into one image. It's a little bit harder to execute because it becomes a little more chaotic and busy. It doesn't always have a clear focal point, but you can still go for that if you like. Okay. So what I really like is making a list before I even start drawing. Make a list. Okay, so for my story, I'll show you guys in the next video. I did The Old Man and the Sea. Okay, so The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. You may have read that book. It's one of my favorite books of all time. Really good story. So I'll just very quickly describe it and kind of show you how I use that. It's basically an old man. He's going hungry. He can't feed himself because he can't catch a lot of fish to sell in the village. So he goes out one last time and catches this giant marlin fish. And it's kind of a man versus nature story. He's fighting with this fish. He's trying to reel it in. He's trying to kill it. He's trying to get it back to his village. So, and a whole bunch of stuff happens there. So it's basically man versus fish story. That's the challenge he's trying to overcome. So, what I'll do, I'll put my story out here. Old Man and the Sea. Okay, then for each one of these, I'll kind of come up and just write a list. So a dramatic moment. A dramatic moment. Catching the fish. Another dramatic moment. He's attacked by sharks at one point. Okay, that's pretty dramatic. Okay, unique character. So there's not many characters in this story, so I'll just say the old man. Or location. The old man's a character. I could just kind of focus on him. What a location. His old boat. The boat he uses is kind of a location. Old B-O-A-T. Okay. A question. Will he survive? Or will he catch the fish? A strong mood. I could go for an action mood when catching the fish. Maybe I just want a calm mood when he's leaving on that day, you know, thinking of sailing out. Or a compilation, so then I can kind of combine multiple of these. So as you can see, you know, a strong mood can go with a dramatic moment. A question can go with a unique character. The compilation can employ a lot of these different things, so they're not all, their own thing, but they can kind of be, combined and related in different ways. But now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things to start drawing. So I will then take this list and start to draw my thumbnails in the sketchbook, okay? So catching the fish. How do I want to show this guy catching the fish? So maybe we just see the little bit of his boat. Fishing rod, and then we have a big giant fish here. Okay, so there's one version of catching the fish. I can do, 2 or 3 versions of catching the fish. So maybe we have the old man really big here. He's in the foreground. Put the hat on him. Then we have the fish smaller and further away, jumping out of the water. Okay, so there's a couple for catching the fish. Now I go what? Attacked by sharks. Okay, so then I can draw a, it may just be 1, it may be 2. Maybe I have like 3 or 4 for attacking by sharks because it's such an interesting moment. We got the shark coming up here. This is not a very good looking shark. I would probably need to look at some pictures of a shark because I can't remember exactly what they look like off the top of my head. And then we got the old man in the boat fighting off these sharks. Okay, and I would kind of just go down the list in each one of these. Okay, so I want to just draw the old man in a unique way. This old guy, the weight of the world on his shoulders, carrying all these fishing supplies down to the water. So maybe that's the thing I want to focus on, okay? So I will go the boat, will he survive, the action mood, the calm mood. It's just a good way to help to separate coming up with ideas of what to draw versus drawing your actual ideas. It's just kind of separating it into those 2 steps. Some people can go right into the thumbnails. I'll do that sometimes. But if I'm ever having trouble with coming up with ideas, I really like to kind of do this list method. Okay? So try some version of this. You don't have to do it exactly like this, but just kind of come up with a list of ideas written down and then draw out those different sketches as your thumbnails and use that as a way to come up with ideas for this story. So here are some covers that I really like that I'll share with you guys that work really well. So this is the movie The Exorcist, super creepy, scary horror movie. What I like about this one is it's pretty much an everyday scene, just a guy in front of a house. Okay, so there's nothing really weird about that except they included that strong mood, the really dark values, shadows everywhere, solid black. So it's really basically a normal scene, but they put a super strong mood onto it. Okay, so you can think about that. Strong moods will kind of make it instantly feel like it has a story and a unique, engaging image. Here's the cover for Jaws. Okay, so this is kind of a dramatic moment and a question. So we got the young swimmer about to get attacked. So this is a moment, or it's kind of right before the moment of an attack, but it's also asking us a question: Is this swimmer going to survive? Okay, so that is creating this creepy, scary, and kind of engaging image right off the bat. This is a comic book called Killing and Dying by the artist Adrian Tomine. And this one is a unique location, but the reason it's unique is because it's so everyday. So it's kind of doing the opposite of that. It's just showing a very bland, everyday location. But that works for this story because this author tells stories of everyday characters with everyday problems and relationships and things like that. It's a comic book, but it's not close to anything like superhero comics or action stories or anything like that. So he's just trying to show the very calm everyday mood of this story. So this is kind of a unique location and that strong calming mood. Here's a unique character, Comic Ghost World. You just kind of want to know more about this character when you see them in this funky costume and cool character design. Here's a strong mood, so really good use of diagonals. The movie Rocketeer came out in the 90s, Disney movie. So really strong use of diagonals, and this is kind of a combination of abstract shapes with some representational imagery of the character there. So here's a compilation cover, which I didn't really have an example of, but this is kind of what I mean. So this one's well done because it does have a clear focal point of Batman as a focal point, and then they just kind of include all these interesting shapes and little different just things from the story. So really cool silhouettes of buildings. We got some tentacles going on. This is Mike Mignola. We've looked at some of his drawings before during the Creepy Mood lecture. And of course, Bats for Batman, but this is a really good way of compiling different things from the story into one coherent image. And kind of these ones are tricky to do because it can get very busy, but they did a good job here of having a clear focal point. All right, there's a lot of good ones. I'm sure you can kind of look at some of your favorite books and favorite movies and see, kind of see which one of these different things it falls into. So this one's dramatic moment / question. Why does Superman have a gun? Okay. And this dramatic fight scene between him and Lex Luthor there. This one is a nice action sense. It's a superhero comic, so that obviously goes well, but everything's on a diagonal. The buildings on the background are diagonal, and all the characters are diagonal to get a sense of movement in there. So this is a kind of action mood with unique characters. Here's a good question one. Who is this character and what is in the bag? What is in the bag? Something creepy is going on here. And hopefully you want to pick this up. So basically your goal is to create, and the goal of anyone creating a book cover or movie poster is to get people to want to read the story or see the movie. It's just kind of creating an image that will draw people's interest in and want them to know more about the story. Here's one I really like, where it's just kind of a compilation as well. This is a movie called Mean Streets. But it's kind of just these simple buildings, but then they put the gun in there as a place of one of those buildings. Okay, so pretty simple imagery, kind of a compilation, but the inclusion of that gun there kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. All right. So there's a lot of good options out there. I'll just kind of go through some of these fast as I'm talking. But yeah, so look at some of your favorite movie posters, some of your favorite books, and see what sort of method they used for their cover, and how to hopefully kind of give you ideas of what you may be able to do for your own cover for this story. So start with choose your story, number one, and then draw your thumbnails for that story. In the next video, in the queue here, we'll be kind of just giving an overview of all the different steps of the project. But this will give you an idea of how to start sketching for your thumbnails after you have chosen your story.